What's up, insiders? Today we're hitting streets of my hometown, Minneapolis. We're actually in Golden Valley. We have tons of storms this year. I'm here with Exterior Plus. You can see a lot of yard signs. They are recommended directory contractor. We're gonna go on the roof, look at the damage that we have here in cities, and talk about insurance companies, competition, what's happening, how good of the year we have. So far, how many storms did we have this year? Hailstorms.
So about 3 storms that actually did damage that hit the greater metro area. We had one down in Lakeville. It was a very small storm, right July 3rd, that went through Lakeville. And then we also had Rosemont that was hit. And then this was the big storm that came through.
This is finally the biggest one?
Yep.
Like, are we talking about 1.5 inches, 2 inches?
This neighborhood had upwards of 2.5 inch hail through the Golden Valley area, and then some areas varied between 1.5, 2 inch throughout Minneapolis.
Got it. Do you see a lot of denials even with the 2.5 inch hail?
Certain areas, this area, no, they're coming in and understanding that, hey,
they have to pay.
They gotta pay.
Even State Farm?
Even State Farm.
Who is the worst these days? This year?
I really hate, I used to like them, Allstate.
Allstate.
Yeah, they've gone to mini squares and a lot not sending out actual license adjusters, people that are just coming out just to take a picture. That to me is cheating a homeowner out of what needs to actually be paid for.
Do you see a lot of out-of-state insurance adjusters?
I do. I see a lot of out-of-state CAT team adjusters. Can go both ways with that, I think.
Who is harder to work with, out of state or someone local to Minnesota?
You know, I think out-of-state adjusters definitely want to come in. You know, they're able to turn around those claims a lot quicker and get people in. The problem with that is in my belief and just seeing it in past years, an out-of-state adjuster comes in, they document the damage, they send it off. Well, they miss things, and now it goes to a desk adjuster where we have to fight constantly to get things that are actually damaged. But that adjuster that was our original contact is now gone onto 100 different other claims, and now we're stuck with someone completely out of state that knows nothing about Minnesota and what needs to be done here for insurance process.
Love it. You have a letter? Let's go and
let's grab a
I
letter.
want to see the damage. I want to give huge shout out to Chris Parowski. A couple months ago, I was in Florida for Roofing Expo in Orlando, and Chris drove Capstone Toyota Tundra, and I didn't even know that Toyota makes hybrid trucks. All my life I drove trucks. I sold my company 3 years ago, and I lost all of my trucks because they went with a company. So for the past 3 years I was driving Tesla. I do have a Grand Wagoneer, nice car too, but this one is the beast. Just wanted to show you this car. Just have it. Last week, it's my first week driving it. Great gas mileage, 12,000 pounds capacity, beautiful truck. I traded in my Model X for this one just because I have a lot of home projects and building a little shed now, and highly recommend if you're in the market for the truck, check into Toyotas. The Tundras really came a long way, and this is a very nice truck.
Right.
Insurance already approved this one. Who's the insurance company here?
I believe American Family.
American Family. So this is a cedar siding. Did they buy?
They did not, you know, even with the size hail, we didn't see a full siding replacement. One thing is we do have older stain. I always tell every adjuster the same exact thing, whether it's older, newer, if I've got oxidation, which we did kind of around both sides, this needs to be stained, and it's not just 1 or 2 sides, because we want to bring that back to pre-storm condition, all matching. So on this one, we were able to get some window wraps. We were able to get the homeowner all new stain for their siding, sand, restain. Around the back, there was some personal property that they were gonna just walk by. We talked about the grill, these things, gutters, downspouts. And now we have to go back through because there was even still a few things that we talked about that they still missed that we actually pointed out. They said, yes, out-of-state adjuster, once again, now we got to go and fight for it. So
sure,
not a big deal. We'll do it, and it's just going to be a little bit longer of a process.
Let's see what kind of damage we have here.
Yeah.
This is so cool. That's my lawyer's office. I've been there for 10 years, right there. I actually been there last Friday, the last time. How old is this roof? Looks pretty new. Probably
honestly, from what I've seen, it's actually quite a bit older. And if you look at it, it's more of like you're seeing granules just completely pop out and pop off.
Even 2.5, like for untrained eyes, you don't see a lot. I mean, you do see.
Yeah, you see it. And I think I actually just had an adjuster that was newer, and he was like, well, I don't think that's hail. Actually on another house just right there. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, it's more of a splatter with granules gone. It's soft, but that's, and I said, well, when you get into the 2-inch hail compared to 1 1/4, you know, depending on how dense that hail is, it can make a completely different mark than a 1 1/4-inch hail.
Can you give advice to the homeowners if they know they have a hail damage because they've seen it, they've seen the furniture, they've seen actually the dents? Do you always meet adjusters on site, or you come after? What advice you give them?
No, absolutely. Well, my advice, if you've got some what you thought was hail damage to your personal property, you've seen some dings, dents in the soft metals, I strongly recommend going online, looking for a reputable company, checking, you know, how long they've been in business? Do they have a good Google review? Sure. You know, look how many actual reviews there are. What's their star rating? What's their credentials? Even look them up on Minnesota, the BBB, Minnesota Better Business Bureau. Directory, absolutely. You can see it on our signs, but these are all things that...
Do your research, do
your homework. And the reason why is we see a lot of companies that are fly-by-night. They're in the business for 1 or 2 years.
Do you see them a lot on the streets right after? Did we have a lot of storm chasers here?
Yes, actually quite a few out of town and in here in Minnesota. I think we had a ton of people that ran through this area especially. I have friends in Plymouth that actually was showing me big hail, and they had a lot of people there. They realized that the hail was softer, it wasn't as dense, it was big, but it was more like just throwing a wet paper towel on your roof. Sure. And then they found that as it moved through Golden Valley and into Minneapolis, I think that hail penetrated roofs a lot harder. It was a lot more dense. So now we're actually seeing damage to the shingles. But
what's the process to deal with the insurance company to make sure it's going to get approved, not denied? Like, what do you advise homeowner? Do you meet adjusters on site, or you come after them?
So I definitely recommend making sure that your contractor's coming out. He's gonna do a full inspection, not just of the roof, not a contractor that's gonna jump up, take one picture of one hail hit. That is not what you're gonna need to get that full approval through insurance. Have them do a test square. Make sure that on an architectural shingle here in Minnesota, I'm looking for 8 to 12 hits in that test square on each elevation. We want to make sure that this actually is warranted, a full roof replacement through insurance, and we're not going to have issues moving forward. The next step would then actually, you can have them give a report, or you can file that claim with insurance and make sure you have a licensed insurance professional out there during the adjustment. I really think that a lot of times adjusters get slammed with 8, 9 adjustments, claims a day, and they're trying to run through. Sometimes they just, by the end of the day, they don't care. They're not.
They can't focus anymore.
Yep, they can't focus, and we're here to make sure that we're getting that adjuster to give you that fair inspection and adjustment. From there, you know, sitting down, making sure that you're getting the right type of shingle, you're getting the right product for your house and that you want, and make sure that it's a timely build.
In the Roofing Insights Gutter Guide, this type of gutters were rated 3rd, 4th, definitely not top 3 options, and you can see the reason why in real life. So they have plenty of trees here, and what's happening is it doesn't have a slope, so everything just collects at the top. Even strong rain, and it's been raining yesterday, not gonna wash it away. So what you wanna make sure is not only to install good gutter guard system, but also make sure that it's sloped with the roof, so it's gonna wash away. That's why we like raindrops. Like, would be actually way better option for here, because you have a good slope, you can slide it underneath and it would wash it away. This stuff should not be growing nasty on top of your gutters. I mean, mosquitoes will grow from it, trees gonna start growing from it. Raindrop will do job much better, or micro mesh, one of the two. But this is not a good solution for here. You can see why. Pretty nasty. What he's working on right now, it's called test square. You do 10 by 10 area on the roof and you mark all the hail hits. You have to have 8 to 12 different insurances, have different requirements. Some will go as low as 6, some of them will go a little bit more, but 8 to 12 is what roofers are looking for. If you have 8 to 12 hits on the 10 by 10 square, he's gonna mark it up the same way as insurance adjuster would to make everybody's life easier. Essentially, we use the same methods. Sometimes you have to open insurance adjuster eyes because they don't want to see the obvious. We've been there, I've done that, but this is the process. How many jobs you got in this neighborhood? By the way, I love his yard signs. I love how it says approved, and so at first you put regular signs, and then you have approved. So I love that idea.
We definitely, we like it. You know, it's able to not just show other homeowners in the neighborhood that we have a presence here, but we're actually doing what we say we're doing by actually getting homes approved.
Wow. Like that yard sign is still irregular, so that one I assume is not approved yet. But this one is approved, which is very cool. Tell us the story that they're working. They did not just come, knock doors and... in this neighborhood, I did not knock a single door. Actually, the homeowner behind, we actually handled a very large insurance claim for him on his commercial building. Wow. The night of the storm, he actually said that he was out, but his neighbors said they got hit with hail. I came out, I did an inspection on his house. He wanted us to take him through his personal property claim. Then after that, I actually started getting a couple calls from this neighbor and then a few other neighbors. So with from yard signs.
From yard signs and also from word of mouth through neighbors. That's typically how I try to run most of my business, is through word of mouth and referrals. And we were able to pick up roughly about 7 or 8 just in this small little neighborhood. And then
what's the average job site? What's the average job site, like size, like dollar amount?
I would say, as of right now, between about 25 and 35,000.
So 7, 8, you're talking about $250,000 in business. Do you have denials yet?
We have a few denials in the area, not because there isn't damage, but because of the issue with policy language.
Policy language.
And the way, what they cover and what products they don't cover.
With Allstate?
Allstate can be a tough one. Also, there's a few other bigger companies that, due to like metal exclusions, stuff like that, I think is really weird that a company would write a policy when you have a metal roof and exclude metal.
I mean, it makes sense if you're in that business. But
yep. But I'm in.
Do your due diligence. I mean,
yes.
Who would review the policy? I think we live in a society where we just sign and would never look at the fine print what we're signing, and insurance is probably one of those deals. But this day and time, with the amount of denials we have, especially if you insuring metal roof, make sure you read the fine print.
Absolutely. One of the things that I tell every customer after we get done with their claim process is the biggest thing that I can tell a homeowner is, come January 1st, you get that email or you get that letter from your insurance. Read that so very carefully, because a lot of times I run into the fact that, hey, well, this was covered 2 years ago, and this year I did get a letter in the mail. I just thought it was my renewal, which it was, but it also had changing of policy and the way that they pay for storm damage. And now They could have easily just said, well, I want this or I want this. I don't want this to change. And they wouldn't have a nightmare on their hands.
I see. Can you name one very, very good insurance company that you would recommend?
So I've heard it 1,000 times over again. My favorite company ever to work with is Chubb.
Chubb.
They insure a lot of high end. I just had one out in Bloomington a couple years back where it was a huge cedar shake roof. They came out, I think the inspection took about 10 minutes. They got down, full approval right there on the spot. They didn't jerk us around or the homeowner around for dollar amounts. You know, it was send in your estimate, here's the check, let's get started.
I wish all insurance companies would be like that.
I wish they would take care of all their homeowners the way that Chubb takes care of their homeowners.
Love it. Well, sir, you keep up the good work, take care of these homeowners, and keep your eyes on the streets. Let us know if you see anything weird or shady. We'll call it out.
All right.
But so far, so good. I don't see a lot of, I mean, I do see yard signs, but most of them from local companies. I don't see a lot of storm chasers here. It's kind of quiet.
It is. I think this neighborhood was kind of tucked away. I mean, the storm hit Friday and we came back Saturday morning and we had done a few inspections in the neighborhood. We actually did end up seeing about 6 trucks drive through the neighborhood, really? Dropping off door knockers and different things like that. And
so they did go after it.
Oh, they did. I think just being a smaller area and kind of tucked away with only so many homes, I think we saw more towards like Minneapolis with very large stretches in the storm where they got pounded really hard with door knockers, early mornings. But even here, talking to my homeowners, they said before we actually did the inspection and put down a sign, it was constant throughout the day.
Directory and Roofing Insights recommends Exterior Plus. Appreciate you guys' input to share what's happening in my own town. Insurance game is changing. If you're new to the game and you're trying to learn how to work with insurance companies, check out Roofing School. If you're the homeowner and you're looking for the contractor, check out directory.com. We don't give bad recommendations, only good ones. And if you have a dispute with our recommendation and it's legit dispute, we will reimburse you for up to $20,000. Don't get scammed by a contractor. See you in the next video. Comment away. We'll answer and read all our comments.